What's up, guys? I hope you've all had a fantastic week. A lot has clearly happened this week and is reflected on the price of XRP. As we all can see, the market is in red today, but it's nothing to worry about. If we head over to coinmarketcap.com, we can see that the current price of XRP is $1.09, and the price has moved down by 2.84% over the last 24 hours. I think this red territory should not be surprising to anyone. There was a probability this was going to occur. And I just want to say that the XRP panic sellers, who are many today, will have their entire lives to regret what they've done. In a few years, I think we will see most of these people cry themselves to sleep for missing such a big opportunity. It's just fascinating that there will always be a certain percentage of crypto holders who will always panic sell, as they often get overwhelmed by all these emotions. One of the key lessons that every crypto trader should get is that emotional buying or selling barely yields any results. Now, with that said, let's roll that beautiful intro and get into today's video. As always, welcome back to MoneySide, your favorite crypto news channel. If you are new here, welcome to the XRP fam. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications to avoid missing out on our daily crypto news updates. To kick us off in today's video, we have this tweet from BC Backer that says, "High tension as XRP price chart battles retrace along with Bitcoin and altcoin market." BC Backer acknowledged that it's possible to see some lower XRP price action in the short term, but at the same time, it remains absolutely confident that XRP will more likely fly north and hit its all-time high this market cycle. XRP is definitely going to enter that new realm of price discovery in the coming months, and the whole market will go up. The fireworks are yet to be heard, but it's just a matter of time. Moving forward, we have this tweet from @Ripple that says, "We're looking for software engineers at all levels to join our growing team. Do you know anyone interested in transforming the next generation of fintech and blockchain technology? Check out our open roles here." Ripple is currently one of the most fast-rising companies, and they are striving to offer more opportunities to the people. If we tap on the link that Ripple shares on this tweet, we can see that our team is working on the next generation of fintech jobs. Whether you're looking for a role as a blockchain software engineer in San Francisco, a partner engineer in London, or a sales representative in Singapore, Ripple is the place to build something transformative within the financial services sector. View Ripple's open job opportunities and apply today for an exciting fintech career. Moving forward, we have this fascinating thread about XRP and its nature from John E. Deaton 1. He passes on a solid point that says, on the SEC's analysis that XRP is not a security, ladies and gentlemen, in the United States, there is no bigger participant than Coinbase. Isn't it ironic that a huge piece of evidence that Ripple will rely on to establish its fair notice defense that market participants reasonably believed that XRP is not a security comes from a market participant that delisted XRP? Remember, the fair notice defense is an objective analysis. What did market participants believe? This is even more critical evidence for XRP holders. If XRP holders get a chance to be heard in this case, this is some of the evidence I will be presenting on behalf of XRP holders to show that regardless of whether XRP was a security in 2013 to 2017, it's insane to say that today's token itself is a security. For more on understanding the significance of the fair notice defense, please see @CryptoLawUS's recent video. Next, we have this tweet from Jungle Inc. XRP that says, "Therefore, even if a digital asset is a commodity, it is not regulated by the CFTC, but the trading of futures contracts on Bitcoin or Ether falls under its scope. I don't think it's going to be much of a war over regulations. Gary Gensler will rule." If we look at that article he shared on this tweet from financefeeds.com, we can see SEC v. Ripple, CFTC Commissioner explains the commodity or security fallacy as the headline. The article says that although the CFTC does not regulate pure commodities, its authority includes anti-manipulation and anti-fraud enforcement over said commodities, including digital assets. CFTC Commissioner Dawn Stump, who has said is following the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit for its potential to provide regulatory clarity, has come forward to end the fallacy of the question, is it a commodity or a security? The CFTC's regulatory oversight authority, as well as the application of our enforcement authority, must be well understood by the public. Only then can proper regulatory compliance be demanded, said the CFTC Commissioner in what could be perceived as a wink at the SEC's highly criticized regulation by enforcement practice. The recent growth in popularity of crypto products and other digital assets has drawn much attention to the question of how this new financial asset class is regulated in the United States. In response, there has often been a grossly inaccurate oversimplification offered, which suggests these are either securities regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission or commodities regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The prevalence of this misunderstanding about U.S. regulatory delineations has grown to the point that I believe requires correction. The commissioner continued. The CFTC does not regulate commodities, regardless of whether or not they are securities. Rather, it regulates derivatives, and this is true for digital assets just as for any other asset class. Commissioner Stump has thus presented an analysis of what the current system is all about and where digital assets fit. This should be understood before considering whether to redesign the regulatory structure in the crypto context, she stated. The 10 concise points laid out by the CFTC Commissioner include the definition of commodity and the CFTC's authority, which does not include the oversight of cash commodities instead of futures contracts and other derivatives. In other words, the CFTC does not regulate commodities, but their derivatives. Therefore, even if a digital asset is a commodity, it is not regulated by the CFTC, but the trading of futures contracts on Bitcoin or Ether falls under its scope. A point that is well established is that the CFTC does not regulate securities. The SEC does. However, the trading of derivatives on a security could fall under the scope of either the SEC or CFTC or both. Now moving forward, let's see what's recent in the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. We have this tweet from Bank XRP that says, Mark Cuban blasts SEC chair on crypto clarity as Ripple lawsuit lingers. If we look at that article shared on financefeeds.com, we can see that the debate over regulatory clarity on digital assets and the role of the SEC keeps heating up. Earlier this week, SEC Chair Gary Gensler took to Twitter to engage with the public on that matter, but the feedback may not have been what he expected. If someone asks a lawyer, accountant, or advisor if something is over the line, maybe it's time to step back from the line. Going right up to the edge of a rule or searching for some ambiguity in the text or a footnote may not be consistent with the law and its purpose, he wrote. The spirit of the law is about protecting investors. Our rigorous enforcement regime is about following the facts and the law wherever they may lead on behalf of investors and working families, the SEC chair continued. This includes deceptive conduct by private funds, offering or accounting frauds, insider trading, market manipulation, failures to act in retail customers' best interests, reporting violations, best execution, and fiduciary violations, or any other form of misconduct. The Securities and Exchange Commission has been under fire for providing clarity through enforcement instead of setting up a clear framework. Critics include 2 of the 5 SEC commissioners, Hester Pierce and Elad Roisman. One of the most popular responses to Mr. Gensler's tweet was Mark Cuban, the billionaire investor who has joined the crypto bandwagon and has influence over the institutional space. How about making the lines bright and clear so people know what the rules are? The problem isn't that people are looking for gray areas, is that they rarely are defined rules. Regulation through litigation traps all the people who can't afford a lawyer, accountant, or advisor. A new regulatory framework may be around the corner, as it was recently proposed in Congress. A law expert has already come forward stating XRP wouldn't be subject to the SEC under the pending bill. This week, CFTC Commissioner Dawn Stump explained the commodity or security question is a fallacy. Most recently, the SEC's suspicious handling of Ripple and XRP has triggered an investigation into a potential conflict of interest. In the meantime, the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit saw the defendant exposing the SEC's contradictions using Hinman's testimony, but fact discovery may ultimately be extended again. Both the SEC and Ripple have requested the court to move up the deadlines for fact discovery and expert discovery so that the depositions of Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson can take place in mid-September. Yes, guys, that said, let's take a look at the technical analysis. We may see a retest of the first major breakout point for XRP. A daily closure below the horizontal support line will confirm a downward continuation. Otherwise, we may see a retest of the uptrend line currently broken downwards. A trend line has formed on the Ripple chart. The price has tested the trend line 3 times before that. The 4th time the resistance is broken, and if the price now tests this trend line as support, it would be a good buying opportunity. I personally will open entry if the price will show it according to my strategy. Remember, as always, trade safely, guys. Please keep in mind, we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Tell us what you think in the comment section below, and let's have a conversation. As always, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and please click on that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, that way you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. Thanks a lot, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.